All right, in my previous video, we had a picture on the graph and I taught you guys how to create the equation from the image. Now in this video, what I'm gonna be doing is asking you to graph an equation out. So I'm giving you the equation, you're creating the circle on the graph. So I'm coming full circle with this, right? See what I did there? A little Euclidean humor. All right, so circle standard form, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This is our standard form of an equation for a circle. We are given that equation here and we need to create the circle on the graph. So what we need to do is we have to look at this information, and the first thing we got to determine is what is our center, okay? We're going to get our center from h and k. H is here, k is here. Notice that we have subtraction happening in both of these binomials. So when we are subtracting h, which is what we're supposed to be doing, all of a sudden down here in this equation it says plus. So what's the only way for subtraction to turn into addition? Well, we must be subtracting what kind of a value? Think about that. It's got to be a negative value, right? So if you're subtracting a negative value, you're really just adding. So what do we know about 7? We know that our h is a negative 7. So I'm going to say my center is at negative 7. And again, over here it says plus, but in our standard form, it's supposed to be minus. So if that minus is turned into a plus, the only way that that happens is if the value of k is also negative. So that 2 needs to be a negative 2. So we know that our center of our circle is at negative 7, negative 2. So I'm going to grab a highlighter right here. I'm going to go to negative 7 right there, down 2. I'm going to place a dot right there and call that my center. So now that I have the center of my circle, the only other piece of information I need to know is how wide does it go out? How big is this thing? How far do I expand it? Well, my radius is squared, okay? Radius value, r, has to be squared here. A lot of times kids will make the mistake, they'll see that 4, and they'll think that it has to be 4 out, 4 units away to get to an edge. That is not the case because r has already been squared to get 4. So what you want to do with this value on the end is root it, right? What's the square root of 4? Square root of 4 is 2. So what we know now is that our radius is 2. How do I know that? Because when I take 2 and I square it, I get 4. So radius is 2, meaning I need to go 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2 up, 1, 2 to the left, 1, 2 down, and then I can connect those dots and have my circle. So my circle would look something like that. You now know how to graph a circle when given an equation. Remember, if it says minus here, if it continues to say minus down here, those are going to be positive values. But here in this case where it says plus and plus, the only way for that to have changed from minus to a plus is if those values of the center were negatives. Hopefully this makes sense. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.